Welcome back to our channel. Hear me out with D.
And E.
And before we get started today, we'd like for you guys to like, subscribe, share, follow any, every, all of it. We're new to this.
Join our community. What
Help us
we
out here.
say, we're friends. Let's share, comment,
Yeah, yeah.
disagree. We like disagreements, but we
Yes, we
also
do. Yeah. We disagree all the time. This is what we do. So welcome, one and all disagreeer. So we're going to kick off today's episode with a couple of headlines from this week. Take it away, E.
So the first topic, or let's go back to a synopsis. So today we're going to talk about Savannah James. She did an interview with The Cut, and basically is just talking about her family ties. Why she is not so much in the limelight compared to other NBA wives. And then we're going to also talk about Gabrielle Union and D Wade
Mhm.
and her roles in her family. Um, and what do they do?
The
Thoughts about
story
the
from this
story, thoughts
week.
about their money and how they split their bills 50-50. I don't know why, but we'll get to it. Um, But first, we're going to start with Savannah James. For those who don't know who Savannah James is, she is wife of NBA superstar LeBron James, mom of Bronny, who just signed to USC,
Yeah,
Bryce, and Zuri, which she is the cutest little thing.
she's
Uh,
adorable.
in an interview with The Cut, she mentions that she's always maintained a low profile. She wants to stay focused on her family. The glitz and glamour is not really important to her. She does have a social media following where she shares a little bit about her life, but her real focus is just focusing on her real focus
Right.
on supporting LeBron and, raising her kids. And she said, I just really want to enjoy being a mom and supporting my husband. I wasn't super comfortable with putting myself out there like that. So, what are your
Mm.
thoughts?
Well, for starters, I think that there has always been kind of like an enigma around Savannah interest as far as, what she does, who she is, and what she's about. Um, but I think that overall, she has done exactly what she said, which is been about her family. She's maintained her family. She has raised three kids, probably more than, LeBron, because LeBron is a superstar. And in order to be a superstar, you have to sacrifice certain things. And that means not being there with your family. So then Savannah full time has to take care of the household, of these kids, of everything, while still supporting her man and enabling him to be the best version of himself. And we know that that's been successful because look at where they are in life and how successful, they are. And I can understand her, wanting to go that route and not putting herself out there. And in a way, it's not only helped with their success and LeBron's success, but also kept the drama away from their family. Whenever you hear any stories about LeBron, it's related to his game. It's related to whatever he's doing with the super team, non super team, whatever. He's a champion. But you don't hear stuff about Savannah. And I commend that because, especially in today's day and age of nonstop social media, all the stalking, the everyday 24/7, news hour of all these celebrities, she's someone that's maintained exactly who she is and kept true to what she's wanted to do. So I kind of like that. What do
Do
you
you
think?
think she just says that just because, she really hasn't done anything and that's like her scapegoat? I doubt they've been married for 22 years.
Hmm.
I mean, not 22 years. They've been together for 22 years, probably married about 10-ish or so. But
Yeah, they've been married a while.
basically, high school sweethearts. She's taking a step back from his, spotlight. And, you don't think she resents him a little bit for that?
I mean, I think that if going into things, she knew this is the life that I want, this is the life that we want, then no, there shouldn't be resentment. I mean, sure, maybe, here and there could be a tinge of resentment when you're not able to do certain things because you're the only one who's there with the kids day in and day out. If the kids get sick, LeBron can't, miss a game to go and take care of one of the kids if they have a cold, if they have strep, which, these kids have all types of sicknesses when they're in school. So could there be some resentment about, certain things? Sure, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I think it's kind of natural, but ultimately, I don't see it as a cop out because she's chosen this life. And if at any point in all of these years that LeBron has been who he is and Savannah's been by his side, if at any point during this time Savannah had come out briefly with like a line of clothing or she'd done basketball wise or anything, and then now she's talking about, oh, I want to be just with my family, then I would say, okay, that's like a cop out because clearly you tried something and maybe it didn't work
Well,
out.
didn't she have like a clothing store like at one point? What did she do here when they were in Miami?
I know she had some stuff going on. She did have, I think, like a local business place. And I
A juicing
can't
spot,
remember.
was it?
I might have been, yeah. But
Yeah.
even that, like, it wasn't something that she like full on advertised, like, or nor did she use LeBron's star power to like really promote herself. So that's why I feel like, okay, she has had the luxury to try and fail without that like following of, oh, she messed up, or oh, she wasn't successful. It's like I think it's worked out for her. So I'm not necessarily thinking like this is a cop out or she's trying to like do this or that or whatever. I don't know. I think it makes sense. She's maybe what you would call an old fashioned sort of spouse, you
Okay.
know? Like some people are. And if you I mean, if we think about it, like LeBron and Savannah are what, like in their late 30s,
Mm-hmm.
going into 40s. Yeah, they're part of a generation that probably does still hold on to old-fashioned values. So this is probably something that was instilled in her from a young age, and so it wasn't like too far-fetched to just continue that.
Well, that differs a lot from Aisha and Steph. Aisha has done her Sweet July magazine and her cookbooks, and she has
Mm.
like all this kitchenware and restaurants and wine.
Mhm.
I think I'm more of an Aisha. I mean, we'll get into the, D Wade and Gabrielle Union and spilling the
Right.
beans 50. But, Aisha has, God-fearing woman, three kids, Riley, Ryan, and Cannon. Why do I know these
Canon.
kids' names? I don't know, but that's besides the
They're adorable, and it's hard not to
point.
remember these
I
things.
know they are adorable. She's supporting her NBA superstar Steph Curry also,
Hmm.
one of the greatest in my
Of
opinion.
course. Of course.
So, I just think that there's value into holding your own and kind of, doing something separate from being Steph's wife or being Riley's mom. She has, her own thing going on. So I'm just wondering if Savannah, you know,
At
what's
one
her
point.
yeah, what's her thing?
Well, I mean, I think that is her thing. Being, the
Boring.
caretaker of her family. Oh my gosh.
It's my opinion. Hear me out.
I mean, yes, no, I can see how people would feel like, okay, that's sure a little boring, especially given the superstar that is LeBron, But even with him, how much do we really know about him outside of basketball? He's done a few things that have been huge, right? Like as far as with the I Promise School, as far as like being a minority owner in Liverpool FC, all these different things
A
he's done.
billionaire.
I mean, yes, he's got a lot of money, but he's somebody who has also maintained a, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but a very like straight sort of like life. And with Aisha, as you brought her up earlier, she's younger. Her and Steph, they're younger. They're
Not
not
much younger.
necessarily.
Maybe
Yes,
like
but
5 years.
it's still a different generation.
No,
Because if
they're
you think
still
about
millennials, just like
no,
us.
they're probably more along the lines of like zillennials. I don't that's a term I heard
Oh,
recently. I
okay.
know. I know. These are the times we live in. But I think that like, with them,
Let's look up her age.
they
Go
like with them, like if you think about it, I mean, like I said, they're younger, they have a bigger social media presence, they're out there, and they're sharing more of their life. Now, it could just be that these are just two very different personalities, right? Like that's Aisha and Savannah, very different. But also, I think it plays a role the fact that there is a age difference. You may not think it's a huge difference. How old is she, by the way?
34. Millennial. Let's look up Savannah. Let's see.
So
Uh,
34. Okay. Like Savannah's what, like 39, maybe?
just 1 second. 36.
Savannah's 36? No.
Yes. How old is Savannah
What?
James? 36. She's turning 37 in August. So,
Wow. Yeah, it's not a large age difference.
millennial back. Take it back.
No, I'm not because I do think that Aisha falls more in the category of like a younger mentality of like these younger people. Sure, she's got her own family life and all these things, but she's also someone who probably grew up wanting to do all these different things in her life because I'm not 100% sure if she comes from an affluent background, but I want to say that like,
I don't think
it,
so.
it wasn't necessarily like she's a kid from Akron, Ohio, like how Savannah and LeBron were. There's a difference. Now, if you really want to get into it, like deep into it, there's also the fact of like Savannah probably would have had way more difficulties and would have been scrutinized way more because of not just that she's married to LeBron, but she's also a more typical black woman versus Aisha, who, is mixed, exotic looking, and all that. And a lot of things would have just been given a pass for her. Like, so I think there's just differences that maybe are fundamental and why they see things the way that they do, and why one is, a little bit more out there than the other. But also just the personalities, right? Like maybe for Aisha, she wanted to have something else on her plate. She wanted to do these other things. But you have millions of women who don't care to do any of that stuff, who think that their children, their families are their whole world, and that's really the most important thing for them.
Hmm,
It happens.
I guess I agree.
I mean,
Everybody
they're out
can't be
there.
like me, but okay.
Yeah. And
I'll
like
agree with this time. This time.
like you and I, we work for a living, we have our jobs, we have side projects, we do different things. But if you had the opportunity, as Savannah did, to just fully
Ball
focus
out.
on your family, I mean, would you not? Would you just like, like decide to, let me go ahead and handle this other stuff? For all we know, she could be like behind the scenes of like LeBron Enterprises. Like, we don't know. There could be something to that, right? Like, she could be helping to do things with like the business, running the business, whatever. We don't know. Point is, neither one of them is living a life or have been living a life within the last 10 years in which they've had to suffer for anything, you know? Like, I'm not taking away from any possible like inconveniences, we all have them, but as far as like, do I need to work? I mean, if I'm a millionaire or my husband's a millionaire, do I really need to work? Maybe they don't want to. I personally would need to work. I like to work. That's just, something that I like to do. If I could do nonprofits full time, I would do that full time. So again, different personalities, different people. That's my thoughts.
Hmm, okay. Fine. That's interesting. So next
Agreed.
topic is Gabrielle Union and D Wade.
Whew, that stirred up a lot. of controversy on social media.
Do tell.
So the comments, because, let's just dive right into the drama. The comments all stemmed from what is she talking about to how is he a man if he ain't handling the business to I would never to he's got to pay all my bills. Like it was bad in the comment section.
Really?
Yes, like people were all over the place and it was sad to me because it's like I didn't see
So give us
anything
some
wrong.
backdrop on the interview.
So Gabrielle, and let me look up the place exactly. She was on the Black Millionaires podcast where she was discussing a myriad of things, but of course, the clip that went viral was where she talked about how her and her husband, NBA legend Dwayne Wade, split their finances 50-50. Now, the bulk of what that clip was about also was how she, despite her affluence now, is still experiencing anxiety about finances. And then she segued into discussing how her and her husband split their finances. And that just became like the clip that everybody ran with. And it became this whole big issue of like, why? Like why do they have to split their earnings or whatever? But Wade is a retired NBA player. And I know that he's got different jobs, he's got different things that he's doing, different, avenues in which I'm sure he's getting money. But at the end of the day, Gabrielle Union is kind of like the head of household. I want to say she even mentioned something like that. She felt she didn't like see herself as that. She also mentioned in that clip, which nobody seems to be talking about, how both her and Wade, not only do they split their finances and take care of their household together, but each of them has separate households for which they are the full head of household. Like they take care of their families, they take care of their people. And these are things that they're paying fully, that they're not splitting with each other or anybody else, right? But that's not what social media cared about. The whole thing was, oh, 50-50. That's the
So
problem.
what? So why is she worried about her finances exactly? Is it because she's not doing enough movies? Is it because
No,
like
I
her
think
upbringing?
Yeah, I think it's just that. It's, when you're someone that's in the past life lived paycheck to paycheck or not had money before, there's I want to say a difficulty in really getting out of that mindset of like, oh, I need to be careful or oh, I need to be prepared, you know? And I think that's kind of what she discussed. I didn't see the full podcast episode, but just some of the clips where she was discussing this and just I mean, yeah, like you kind of feel like you can all go away. I mean, if you've been in situations in which you haven't had something, it's not difficult to feel like, oh, I could lose all of this, in an instant. And so I just dropped my phone. And so that was something that to me like stuck out, that you're someone who is a successful Hollywood actress, but you're still feeling that anxiety of your finances. Like I think that's a very um I want to say relatable feeling, despite the fact that she has millions. I don't, but like it's relatable. It's like doesn't matter how well you may be doing in life, you may still feel like some form of inadequacy. And so the fact that like her and her husband are splitting things 50-50, I don't see how that's like a problem. I mean, why not? What is the big deal about splitting it 50-50? You go ahead and tell me what your problem with it is because I feel like you've got a problem.
Was splitting bills 50-50?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, what's his is mine and what's mine is mine. Like,
You're so
so,
Hispanic.
and a lot of women in those comments. But I do sometimes have a traditional outlook on, husband and wife relationships. Like,
Like Savannah?
not completely. Is just being a housewife and
Yeah.
raising kids. But at the same time, I want to feel like a man is taking care of me. How about if I just decide, hey, I will be Savannah and I want to raise these kids? Like, do I have to have that anxiety about money and things? I need to be with a provider that's going to take care of the bills. If I want to split bills 50-50, hey, we just decided on that. I am not going to pay bills 100% for a fact. Unless it's an excruciating circumstance where somebody loses their job or,
Mm, right,
sickness, things like that. But
right.
just me working and him chilling, that ain't happening. So, I
Yeah,
mean, I think we also have to compare their income. How much is D
right.
Wade making compared to Gabrielle Union? I mean, she is an actress, and I don't want to diss her, but she's not an A-list actress, is she?
I mean, she's
What?
a working actress. I don't,
She's a working actress, but she's not pulling in
yeah.
Angela Bassett money. She's not pulling
No, but Angela Bassett
Meryl
is in
Streep money.
Marvel. Come on.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Now compare it to D Wade, where he probably has, shoe endorsements and, all the things that he does, retired as a
Investments
table
and all
maker.
that.
How much
Yeah.
money has he accumulated throughout the years and probably what he's currently doing now? I don't think she should
Hmm.
be that stressed, especially since they have resources, they have financial planners, they have access to all these people that could manage their money. So I
Right.
think her being so stressed about money, even though I understand that when you don't have it and then you have it, you're afraid of losing it. There's people that she has access to that could, take care of those kinds of things and, acquire that knowledge if need be.
Yeah, I can see your point for sure. But I feel like we've seen far too many stories where, yeah, you have celebrities trusting someone else to help with these things and then that money disappearing, or then they owe IRS. Like who?
Like Robin Dixon and Juan Dixon.
Oh man, yeah.
For those who
That
don't know,
was
that is the Real Housewives of Potomac. So you gotta
the
watch it.
best,
See.
the best housewives. And I mean, yeah, like you see celebrities owing money to the IRS and all these things because they're money managers, they're people whomever did stuff, and just a side note, I recently watched the Whitney Houston movie. I
Mhm.
Want to Dance with Somebody, I think is the title of it. And I had no idea because I was a kid when that was all going on, but apparently even her father supposedly stole money from her. And
Oh,
that's
like Britney
your
too. Can't forget Britney.
hello. Free Britney till it's backwards, but because she's still in something right now. I don't know what it is, but she's still in something. So I just think that like it's hard to really be like, oh yeah, I'm good. I got all this money, investments, we're good. No, because you never know.
No,
And
I think with wealth comes responsibility. Like
yeah,
if you know
yeah.
you have all this wealth, you also have to do your research. You can't just pick out somebody from, I was going to say the yellow pages. I was really dating myself. You
Wow,
just
you
pick out somebody
are.
from, wherever, I'm sure D Wade can go and talk to LeBron. Hey, homie, bestie, who's your financial planner? Who's handling your things? You know, I think Shaq even spoke to Warren Buffett at one time. I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
they have like all these resources, but you
Resources.
also have to, not trust people blindly. But
Yeah, yeah. No, I
I
get you.
don't,
That makes sense.
yeah, I don't think she.
Especially having the resources and all that.
And how much? What's D Wade's net worth? If it's 100 million to her five, I might have to talk to her.
Did you
Let's
just say
keep
that
it
she has
PG.
five?
I'm just throwing it out there. Look, I'm gonna research. Hold on.
Yes, please find out because that was a low blow. That was a
How?
low blow.
What does she really do? Bring it on? That's it? Bring it in? Bring it on? The cheerleading one?
Bring It On was a movie from like, I don't know, the early 2000s. I don't think we're talking about that.
Okay, so here, according to Yahoo, her net worth is about 40 mil. All right, let's see D Wade.
Not five, ma'am. Not five.
All right, times eight.
Oh, Jesus. My God. Mm-mm.
D Wade is 170. Well, you can't see it. 170 million. Why is she stressed? He should be paying everything. Not to sound like a gold digger.
Oh, I mean, come on.
Honest.
Listen, okay, hear me out. Like, if, right, those numbers are true because the internet can lie. If
This
those
is
numbers are true, then like okay, he makes more, he could probably provide more, but you also have to take into account the fact that like he has two children that he didn't have with her that
mhm,
he's looking after, right? And yet she's also, they're STEM and they're participating in their life, so she's helping out with that. He is taking care of his, I believe, nephew and his sister and all these different people in his life. So you know, there's I think a lot of different things that are involved, and I'm not trying to count their coins or whatever, but it's like, okay, sure, he may have a bigger net worth, but you know, some a lot of that money could be tied up in investments or could be tied up in like some other stuff that like isn't necessarily easily accessible. But for whatever we do have, let's go ahead and split our stuff because why not? I believe for me, and like I said earlier, I'm not a millionaire, but I believe that it's important to
what's
have some.
relative? Our $100 to their million. It's all it's all relative.
It's all relative. Yeah, sure. It's comparable. Um, but like to me, I think it's important that I take care of my own finances, take care of my own responsibilities. In my household, it's all split 50-50. Like, however, are there times where like he spends more on certain things, like either buying stuff for the house or buying groceries or whatever? Yeah. Or sometimes I do. Like we alternate, but we're not like, oh no, you owe me for this, you owe me for that. Like that's not how it is. We're just cognizant of we have these bills. Let's go ahead and split these bills because we're both responsible for them. Like he's not the only one living here. Why would I tell him he's got to pay rent fully? He's not the only one using the light, the water, you know, all these things. Like so in my mind, I want to make sure that we are both sharing that same responsibility because we are sharing the same space.
Mhm.
Additionally, I never want a man to tell me I pay for everything you owe me. That's not gonna happen in my life.
You two
You ain't
for
gonna
two
tell
today.
me.
You're two for two.
You're not gonna sit here and tell me about me. No, sir. I'll pay my own shit. Sorry.
I'm kind of
Oops, I'm
mad.
gonna have to leave that.
I'm kind of mad you changed my mind because
Oh,
nobody's gonna tell me about me.
changed her mind? What is this, some kind of Christmas miracle in May? Oh my God.
Ah, I
Well,
hate.
but I mean, you know, like I said, reality is that thinking about things in just a very realistic way, in a very like just common sense kind of way. Like I'm not, you know, going to try and sit here and say like you need to pay for all of this and, you know, take like I read somewhere where a woman was upset because her man asked her for $50 to get his hair cut. And apparently it was all part of some test he was doing. She was like, "Why would I give you $50 for you to get a haircut? Like you should be able to pay for that stuff." He's like, "Oh, but I pay for your manicure, pedicure, and your hair." And she's like, "Well, yeah, you want me to look cute for you, right? So you gotta like upkeep me." And I'm
Mhm.
just like, what? Then why wouldn't you give him $50? Shouldn't
Mhm.
you want him to upkeep himself for you?
Mhm.
Anyway, I don't really subscribe to that whole notion. And it was interesting that I read that this week when all of this came out about Savannah and Gabrielle and all that. And it was just like, I, I, I just don't get people's outrage
Okay,
at
there's
all.
a disclaimer. I am not a gold digger. Okay, guys? I just want to say that I'm a working
Put
woman,
a giant disclaimer on you.
not a gold digger. I just gotta say that just to put it out there.
Just so y'all know. Just so y'all know.
Yeah, but it's not if it works for them, if they like it, I love it. You know, I'm just
Hope.
curious as to why they don't split those family bills. They split the household bills, but then they isolate and take care of their own families. I would just think that they would combine it all together. I'm kind of interested in their finances now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's like same thing. I wouldn't ask my partner to help me give money to my family for whatever reason. And I know he wouldn't ask me to like give his money family, you know. Not saying that I wouldn't help out and I know he would help out, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like they're those two are like a separate thing. Like, us handling 50-50 of our finance our bills, I mean, in our household, it's our household, it's our life together versus the families are separate, so but I mean, to each their own. And I think that like the outrage that was on social media this week about that whole 50-50 thing was so dumb because I'm sorry, like, are you even able to afford 50? Like, that's
Oh,
really what you should think about.
okay. I see you.
Because you had a lot of people out here upset about it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure if you go to their pages, you can tell they're not paying not even 50. Like, calm down. They probably can't afford it. And that's okay. But don't,
I do
judge other
say
people for it.
if a man is providing in monetarily, I think women should also focus, I'm saying this loosely, should focus on their roles as well. If we want a
Yeah.
traditional kind of marriage and he's providing, a home and financial stability, what is
Mm-hmm.
she providing? It's not a
Right.
one-way street. So I'm
Right.
sure these women in these comments, they think they're principesas over there. But you
I
gotta wash some dishes, you gotta raise that family, you gotta, you know, do
Because
your
if we
part.
talking about princesses, I know y'all saw Kate out there this week doing several engagements on her own, trying to make her money.
Oh,
Like, I had to
Middleton?
throw the royal family. Yes, I had to throw the royal family in there. I'm just saying, like, you cannot, like you said, it's not a one-way street, and you cannot expect that a person is going to just take care of you and not want, anything from you. Like,
Yeah,
no,
that's
that,
pretty exhausting. Then that's just a
yeah,
one relationship, and that's never gonna work.
no, it's really not. And, I mean, the way that things have worked out, interestingly enough, I mean, LeBron and Wade were teammates. LeBron and Wade are friends. Their families are friends, but you see they have successful relationships. They have these successful marriages and lives with their
On his
families.
little stint, let's not forget D Wade
We're not
stint.
talking about that. We're there's no
I just
reason.
want you to know that I know that you know that I know that I still remember it.
Of course, I still remember it too. That was pretty messed up. But my whole point is that, despite them having very different relationships, right? One handles the family, the household, all that stuff in Savannah, and then one splits in Gabrielle, I'm sorry. Then even though they're different, they have these successful relationships, they have these successful families. And so it's like one size does not fit all. It's okay to have these differing ways of living your life with your partner. And I mean, at the end of the day, why call them your partner if you're not contributing in any kind of way? My final
You
thoughts
gotta
on that.
do whatever works for y'all.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I think that concludes today's video. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
your comments are, comment down below. Agree,
Yes.
disagree. Hopefully you agree with me more than me.
I did change her mind,
Actually,
guys.
I agree with you a lot today. So let us know what you think. Until next time.
Yay! Like, subscribe. Bye.